want to hear from them?
Is everything in order?
Everything's in order. So just 2 lots. Yeah.
It looks good on my end. You the one that keeps the checklist, so.
So is that a motion?
What's the problem?
Yeah, I make a motion we approve this final plat of the Mount Pleasant subdivision.
I have a motion by Commissioner Snuggs to approve the final plat for Mount Pleasant Addition in Precinct 2.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Arndt. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 8, deliberate and consider possible approval of preliminary plat for Dove Landing proposed subdivision in Precinct 3 and petition for waiver of maximum road length. You have speed on this one, Adam?
A little bit. What is our maximum length now?
It's like 800 feet,
How far is he going, like?
3,100, I believe.
How many?
3,100.
That'd make a good racetrack.
I think the very last thing in their documents is the petition for the waiver.
And there's no other exits, that's what it's looking like.
Yeah. Is Clint here?
I don't see 'em.
Is anybody here for this one? For Dove Landing?
No, nobody's, Clint's not here.
And that actually is a waive on our subdivision guidelines, right? Exception.
That's the procedure. You file a petition, and it doesn't have to be like a formal petition, but they did.
For those of you that
Filed a
were,
separate document asking to waive that requirement.
Waive the requirement. How long is the road supposed to be?
I think it's 800 feet.
800 feet, and our specs
750,
say,
800.
what do our specs say?
I gave y'all everything.
It's a max, isn't it, 800?
Max is 800, but
It's
this
gonna be
one,
3,100.
this one's gonna be 3,100.
Yeah.
Is he putting a cul-de-sac down on the end?
Yes.
do we know why we restricted it to 800 foot when the regulations were written?
No.
It was a concern for speed, was it not? Straightaway and speed?
Speed and congestion, and do you have more than one outlet? Is it one outlet? One outlet. One in, egress and ingress?
If you have a fire at the end, you
If you have
got
fire at the
issues
end.
getting access to it with emergency vehicles and
Yeah,
stuff of
and
that nature.
all the other vehicles that come with all your emergency vehicles. It was
Yeah.
a safety issue, what that engineering group advised us on. It's the way I understood it.
Yeah, I agree
It's
with you.
30 lots, and they said to meet the minimum frontage requirements, that's how
It had to be straight.
long they had to make. Yeah,
That's
basically.
3/4 of a mile.
Whether it's straight or curved, it doesn't fix any of the emergency
It doesn't
issues.
change.
No.
Yeah.
I think congestion and all that was a big part of it.
One of my recent ones was 5,100. It had a bunch of curves in it. Would be the only difference. It was still a dead end, no outlet situation.
Did you approve it?
I didn't have to. There wasn't I only did, but there wasn't a petition because it was curved.
Okay.
It's
Sure.
a P and Z also, isn't it?
This
No, it's not.
No.
No, but they are all over 2.5 acres.
This-
Some 3, one's
this-
4.5.
Yeah, the smallest lot's 2.9.
Looks like it, 2.9, or 2.85, 7.2, 6.0. You get smaller as you get to the back where it curves.
But it doesn't have a lot of residences, so less apt to have an issue.
Yeah.
It's your call, Adam. For-
Once you start giving variances, that's your danger.
Yeah,
Set a precedence.
Well, like I said, there was a reason it was written that way.
Wonder how big that circle's gonna be at the back. Really doesn't give me a
Can't tell.
footage there.
They're like 100 and,
60-foot radius,
yeah.
Was it 60-foot radius?
160 foot?
No.
just 60-foot
60
radius is
foot.
what it shows.
ooh, 2 fire
Mm.
trucks, maybe. You want to table it and think about it, or?
You want to do more study?
Yeah, I think we ought to table this till I can talk to him and see if we can make that little, I think if we can make that bigger back there in the back, where you can at least turn,
Get more vehicles down there if you have to.
because our engines and fire trucks are getting so much bigger now, they ain't gonna be able to make that turn, I don't think.
Especially if you get a couple of them down there at one time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, that ambulance
Yeah.
yeah.
and rescue truck and volunteer firemen and everything else. Yeah.
I will say it's a nice, large lot subdivision rather than 110 1-acre lots.
Yeah,
Is my math
them lots
right?
back to back are pretty big. If we could make that a little bigger. And as far as putting a curve and stuff, I don't know if you'd be able to do that. It's just a big rectangle there.
Well, because it's not so dense, it would probably, that's something to take into consideration, 30 houses instead of 100.
Right. I make the motion, we table this till I can talk to him and see if we can get that radius bigger.
Have a motion to table the preliminary plat for Dove Landing, proposed subdivision in precinct 3, and petition for waiver of maximum road length by Commissioner Arndt,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Clement. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 9, deliberate and consider possible approval of preliminary plat for Villa Estates, proposed subdivision in precinct 3.
And this is right out southwest of here. How many acres is it, Shelby?
It's 24 acres.
And y'all are doing a in and out too, right, on this one?
There's a cul-de-sac.
Cul-de-sac? How many lots is it?
21.
Oh, I don't, yeah, there's the cul-de-sac.
And y'all are gonna have ear water there too, right?
Yes.
With they putting hydrants in them? Yeah.
That's 120 foot across. 6-foot radius, 120 across.
Yeah, that's big lot.
Yeah. Well, and this one's got some issue. If 800 foot's the number, this has got 1,500 foot, does it not? Something like that.
Anybody got any questions on this one?
Anyone have any questions?
Just trying to read that.
Any comments?
If 800 foot's it, you got the same issue, but like I said, I don't have an issue with it. I'm just
You got a 75-foot radius on there.
on there.
Yeah, they're a little
Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah,
Bigger.
yeah.
And
What's
I've
the
already
length on that
secured-
one?
It doesn't show it on here. that
No,
I
I'm saying,
see.
Shelby, you know, from the road to the cul-de-sac, you know that distance?
From the road to the cul-de-sacs, from the main road to the cul-de-sacs.
It's under 1,000 feet. I can tell by looking here.
And it doesn't say it on here, and I just wondered.
No.
I mean, it's the same, I mean, I don't see an issue, I just was trying to see if I could read what it was.
Yeah, like, I don't see it, but it would be more than, I think it would be more than 800 feet. But, and had it not been brought up, I wouldn't even recall the 800 foot in all honesty.
This cul-de-sac's bigger, I like that a lot better to be able to turn them trucks. And that's where we're gonna get an issue.
Did y'all already get the signed easement from the neighbor for the water?
Yes.
Like drawn up by a lawyer?
She's supposed to be doing that that.
Okay, okay. Neighbor's gonna let them drain off on them. They got an easement in
That's
that.
coming from the west side over there. Y'all gotta do a road bore. Road bore under the road, under 381. Yeah. Yeah. I make the motion to approve this one.
Have a motion to approve the preliminary plat for Villa Estates, proposed subdivision in precinct 3 by Commissioner Arndt.
Second?
Second from Commissioner Hollowell. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 10, deliberate and consider possible approval of final plat for KCCV Development Number 2 in Precinct 1.
That one's off 147. All of them have access off the county road, so roads are not an issue. The engineers have all bought off and approved, and I guess all the fees have been paid. Moved to approve.
Lost one.
I'll second.
Do we have a motion? I'm sorry, I must have been.
I made the motion.
Okay. I have a motion to approve the final plat for KCCV Development Number 2 in Precinct 1 from Commissioner Hollowell, a second by Commissioner Arndt. Any further discussions? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. You're welcome. Item 11, presentation and recommendations by Broadband Advisory Committee and deliberation and consideration of possible actions on same.
I saw Sherman. Is Brinkley coming? Is Sherman
He's
doing it?
not. He did provide us his recommendation. Chairman may want to speak to him, but I think each of you have one, but I'll read it for the record. The recommendation of the committee is for proposal number 2 from NextLink. It will meet the county's goals of a maximum coverage with projected being 92% coverage with speeds at or above 100 megabytes download and 25 megabytes upload. Our recommendation would be to enter negotiations with NextLink on county share based on other counties. We feel there is a possibility that NextLink would consider doing the project for a smaller percentage of financial support for Cooke County. Additionally, since Callisburg is the only incorporated city without fiber, we recommend the county consider funding the fiber expansion to Callisburg as a part of the negotiations with NetLinks. The proposal number 2 would include wireless upgrades and additional towers at a cost of $1.8 million, and the county share would be $1.25 million. Sherm, you have any input you would like to provide?
I'm not following at all. I'm not hearing clear. I didn't put my hearing aids in.
Okay. Is there any comments you'd like to make on the broadband proposal concerning NetLinks?
Yes. We did prepare a metric qualified assessment of the people who responded to our broadband. And we did have some responses that met what we believe were the targets that we were looking for as a committee. And what I would want to do is prepare a summary and have those presented by our committee chairperson.
Have you seen that?
I think that's right. I haven't seen that.
Now, this is his summary, and it's been, obviously you don't know it, but here it is. And you can read it, so you heard what the recommendation was.
Yeah, I'm familiar with this. I did objective measurement and metric response scores on these. And
Do you agree with the recommendation that he's listed here?
Proposal 2,
I agree with that it's representative of the proposals that were made. Yes, I do agree that it's
But
representative.
he has given us a recommendation right here as to what to go do.
I'd have to talk with other members of the committee to be sure. I can't represent the committee, Gary, on my own.
Yeah, but he already has represented the committee, is what this looks like.
he has.
Yeah,
That's his understanding of the,
committee's wishes.
I have had nothing but cooperation with my committee members or my committee chairperson. So as the person present, I will support my committee peers and my committee chairperson.
Okay.
So
okay,
did
thank
y'all,
you.
did they have a vote on it, or? I don't understand.
They just,
They scored it, I
yes,
understand
and
that.
this is their recommendation.
Okay, based on the scored, but they
Yeah.
never got together as a committee and said, this is what we want to do?
Yes, I think
Okay,
they
that's
did.
what I'm trying to get.
I don't think he heard,
He didn't hear the whole conversation?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll add, and this does not represent the committee, just me as a committee member and as a citizen of the county. The 92% coverage at speeds that was proposed by one of the respondents, which was Nick's link. They responded at 92% coverage at 100 megabits per second. That startled me. I feel confident as a former tech executive that they would not do that without an interaction with the government. The second thing that particularly stood out to me, and like I said, I did the evaluation automation system that we plugged into, is that the one quarter of this county that doesn't have fiber optics is the one in one. Everybody else has some fiber optics. And I personally, I went and met with Nortel. I don't think that the 140 some odd houses out in Callisburg, I don't think they will go there in the next 5 years without some sort of incentive. It's just not enough concentration out there. And I am of the opinion that the growth of additional residences in that area would be enhanced by extending fiber into that underserved precinct area.
And that's part of his recommendation for us to include that in our negotiation, Sherman.
Say again, Gary?
That is part of his recommendation for us to negotiate, for us to include that in our negotiations with NextLink, for them to run the fiber to Callisburg.
Well, I apologize to the commission for not having done my homework as well as I should, but everything that you're saying sounds like stuff that I wrote.
Okay, all right.
If you'll read that first paragraph, Sherman.
I didn't bring my glasses. I jumped into the truck without my hearing aid and without my glasses. And came
Don't
down
worry.
here and threw myself on the mercy of you five gentlemen.
It sounds like it's all in order.
All good.
It's all good.
And I really respect my committee chairperson. He has done a great job, and my peers have done a great job of trying to be as open-minded and as dutiful as the court has asked.
We want to thank you, the committee members, and the chairperson for the great job that you have done, all the hours that you have spent. We are very appreciative. Thank you.
Well, I am glad for the chance. Every one of us was glad for the chance. Thank you for listening. And I'll check this out, but it sounds like it says everything that I already was familiar with.
I believe it did,
Apologize
sir.
for not having read it in advance.
No worries.
Is there anything else?
No, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Any thoughts?
Shelley, we got that budgeted somewhere,
No,
and it would come out of, what, capital improvement?
for the, fiber line?
Well, it's not all gonna be fiber, but for the complete, they're gonna do towers and stuff of that nature. It'd be infrastructure, would it not, of some sort to us?
I haven't seen it, so I don't know how much they're asking.
1.256.
And then if we could negotiate in the Callisburg fiber, it's 737. Here, that's what it looks like. Oh, I know it's hard to comprehend numbers when people are,
When we originally talked about using some of the
ARPA fund.
ARPA funds, but
well, but the way it is, we had already agreed to, we committed monies to communications early. I mean, prior to knowing we could use ARPA money.
But we need to look at the broadband grants that are out there.
Right, but what I don't want to do is suggest we're not prepared to fund it if we decide to go. We can come up with the money. It's my understanding, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, if we decide to move forward, the money is there. We just have to put it in the right account.
I recommend we continue the negotiation process on proposal number 2 with NetLinks. I'd like to do a lot better than 1.256, but I think that it is a area of service that we need to improve in Cooke County.
But Shelley, what do we need to do as a court? Do we need to go ahead and select them as,
If you're gonna negotiate, well, you
Next
have to
link.
say that you're going to.
and once we enter into that, we have to complete that process before we consider the second one,
Yes.
okay? So I would make the motion that we enter into
Just, negotiation.
negotiations with NextLink for broadband
Proposal number 2.
proposal number 2, to move forward with our, how do I say that?
I think you covered it.
Okay,
That we're, let me restate that, and if I've missed it, Shelley, please help me with it. Have a motion from Commissioner Hollowell to move forward in negotiations with NextLink on proposal number 2 as submitted by the committee.
to upgrade the county's broadband.
Yeah, to upgrade broadband services for the county. That cover that, Shelley?
Yes.
It's clear as mud.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
I have a second from Commissioner Snuggs to move forward with negotiations for proposal number 2. Any further discussions?
Whomever is involved in that process, I think we ought to go with the committee's recommendation during the negotiation to see if we can get them to run fiber to Callisburg. I'm sorry?
So, is the fiber to Callisburg proposal number 3?
That's what I believe. Under the next link,
Yes.
yes, that's what I think, Shelley.
So you're looking at $2 million.
If, again, to be negotiated.
Yeah.
And we may not could get them both. We may, I mean, I wouldn't, you know.
Why are we, Why are we saying Calsburg first? Because there's a bigger concentration of houses in the other areas?
And all the other incorporated have fiber, some form of fiber is what I'm thinking, Jason.
Oh, because Calsburg is incorporated versus these other,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, it's incorporated in their recommendation.
okay.
It-
I see
it
what you're
would've-
saying.
It would have been nice if some committee members would have been here. Normally, that's what happens, as committee members show up and tell you why they decided what they decided. But you brought up the grants. Are we even, as a county, involved going after the grants? I know early on, the Texas Association of Counties and the broadband office wanted every county to make a needs assessment of what we had and what we don't have, basically. And did we ever do that? I mean, I've asked people on the committee and I've asked folks in this building, has this county done a needs assessment? In other words, you tell the broadband office in Austin what's underserved and what's not, and that's supposed to help move you along in this grant process as far as the federal and state money that's going to be available.
Could we call on Sherman again? I know that you have attended a number of the broadband, I believe it's the State Broadband Committee. As I understand it, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir, I can hear you fine.
Okay.
We're
As I
talking Glenn
understand it-
Hager
Glenn
and
Hager.
the state broadband development office.
Yes, as I understand it, you.
Greg Conte is the director over there.
Yes, as I understand it, you have met with him, you've been to a couple of the presentations along with Mr. Brinkley, and the assessment is at this point that they are just doing a fact-finding mission, and they're not in a position to start taking applications or recommendations, is that correct? Can you brief us on where the state is at on the grant funds?
Judge Starnes, the way you've stated it is correct. They're going to be in data gathering for a while, and they've basically got a consultant and a drawn-out process where I'll use the word interrogation of all providers to get providers to essentially drive around in pickups and give a more accurate assessment of what actually is covered versus what is conceptually covered by virtue of radio theory, and that's going to take a while. And then once it's done, the methodology is deliberately undefined in terms of what do we do about what we evaluate once we get back that data.
So we're waiting on the state, correct? For us to take.
That's an understatement, Judge Starnes. Waiting would imply a timely kind of predictable kind of thing.
Yes, sir.
But the question I have that still hasn't been answered, has this county done a needs assessment and given it to that office, what areas don't have any service and what areas do?
Mr. Clement, let me answer it this way. I've had one-on-one discussions with Mr. Conte, and as has Mr. Brinkley, and explained to our best ability, we have done an evaluation.
Okay.
We have sent out questionnaires, and we have attempted to get accurate pictures of where we are in terms of coverage, which is not good. And we shared that with Mr. Conte, who is responsible for pulling this thing together. I would say, speaking candidly, and which I am, that's just what I do. He said to me, that's good. You guys need to be trying to get stuff figured out and moving forward as best you can, because the more somebody has got their act together, the more we're willing to listen to them when we get around to talking. People who are waiting on the state to do something may wind up with a cold bucket of water on them because they want us to show that we are engaged in the process. And there's a lot more to be done, and I would hope that we would leverage some of our actions into further actions by the state. At the federal level, we are probably not a county that's going to fall under the USDA grants. We have too much population. So what is brought up in this meeting is probably the whole enchilada.
Any other questions of Sherman?
That was too many words, and I appreciate the patience and kindness of the court.
But let me reiterate this. You couldn't have got where you are with the proposals if you had not done a needs assessment for the county.
That is accurate.
Okay.
I understand.
Proposal. We will have to get into some negotiations and maybe put some specifics around what happens if you really don't get to 90%, 92% at 100 megabits. That seems like a challenge to me, but technology changes.
But to Leon's point, though, we got to be sure that gets to the state.
That's the only point I'm making.
Yeah.
One of the first things, and the people at TAC, I went to a conference and they said, make sure your county sends in a needs assessment. And that's the only question I've ever had, have we done it? A needs assessment on what we have and what we don't have. Like you said, it's going to matter down the road. It's not going to do anything. Heck, they won't get after anything for another year or two down in Austin, do you think? I don't think they will.
It's pretty vague, Mr. Clement.
It's going to take them a while for them to get all their ducks in a row. They have counties that don't have anything that they want to help.
I told Mr. Conte I would not want his job.
I just want to make sure they have it.
Yeah. Thank you, Sherman.
Thank you.
So we got a motion and a second to move forward.
Let me restate that. I have a motion to move forward with NetLink's proposal number 2 as presented by the committee chaired by Mr. Brinkley, and including proposal 3, both of which are negotiations with NetLinks to include the fiber to Callisburg. I have a motion by Commissioner Hollowell and second by Commissioner Snuggs.
You have a question,
Does that still
Shelley?
stand?
Yeah, Shelley, do you have a question? Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0.
Now, having said that, do we want somebody from this committee to do the negotiations?
I think we do.
Somebody from court needs to sit on that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
And you need to be on there because it's dollars and cents. It's one of them, I mean. So,
Well, do we want to take a second action? Do we have a volunteer on the court?
I mean, when we get there, maybe.
Was that a volunteer?
you need to poke you or nudge you a little? I mean, I would guess that a big part of that's gonna fall on the committee with some observations, is what I would
I
think.
don't want to speak for the committee, Sharon, but I'm assuming that you guys will still be engaged in helping us as we need advice to go forward. Is that a good assumption?
Yeah, I'd like to respond to that if I may.
Sure.
Speaking on behalf of the committee and our chairperson, we are motivated and believe in what we're doing. We're passionate that we think this is a good thing for the county in all the list of ways that the court has heard. And so I now understand the point of this morning's agenda, which is we then had the question, well, do we have the support of the court to apply this energy? I mean, the question was, we've requested, we did evaluation, we did assessment, we got proposals, we evaluated the proposals, we got them into metrics, we followed the county organization, and then the question was by all four of us, 5 of us members, and the 2 are committee chairperson. So do we want to stay after this? But we don't want to stay after if it's a fool's errand.
We just voted 5-0 to move forward with negotiations.
I heard that.
Oh, okay.
I heard that and was happy with it.
All
But
right.
you understand where we were coming from as a committee. We've put X amount of time into it, and
Yes,
we're waiting
sir.
for you guys to go 5-0 to say, hey, okay, we're on board with you guys staying after it. Because there wasn't no point in doing any more until we heard that from you.
What we're asking for go forward, Sherman, is that we're going to appoint someone from this court to start the negotiation process, and that person will need input from this committee, because he's not going to be, or she is not going to be experts in the broadband area. So they're gonna need advice. And the
Oh, you
question
get
is-
plenty.
Okay,
Whoever
you
gets
get plenty of
appointed now.
advice. Okay.
Whoever, we're ready to go.
Okay.
We're ready to devote whatever time you are asking us to do to move forward.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The window on the USDA grant closed November 2nd.
The opportunity to apply.
Yeah, it says, this was, round 2. Applications will not be accepted after November 2nd until a new application opportunity has been opened.
And that's the one that Sherman thought that we did not qualify for because of the size of the county, the USDA funding.
We got too much
Yes,
population.
the Lyton County,
Yeah.
our understanding through preliminary assessment is that as evaluated by the person that y'all well know is the person who works grants the most, which is Jennifer, the assessment was that that is intended for really rural counties.
Yeah.
That we're not rural enough.
Okay.
The real isolated counties that don't really have much, any broadband or any fiber at all,
Hey,
Yeah.
ranchers out in
Yeah.
Pecos County
Yeah.
that don't got nothing,
they ain't got nothing.
okay?
Yeah, I understand.
All right, thank you.
Well,
sir.
the rules may change.
I hope so.
When they come
Yeah.
out with the next one.
New application opportunities come available.
Okay. So, we're back to looking for a volunteer, or do we want to put that on another agenda?
Just gonna depend on when it starts and what the,
Well, it would need to start almost immediately, I would think.
I don't mind sitting in on some meetings with them and being representative for the court.
I mean, I would think we'd lean heavily on the committee. And let, I mean, and have probably you and Shelley
They're already
involved in the
they're so-
finance part of
yeah,
it.
They're so far in.
They can
this.
talk the lingo and probably do a better job of negotiating than some of us on the court.
Absolutely. That's my hesitation.
I'd turn them loose and say, let me know what's happening.
Okay, so do we need to make a motion to assign Commissioner Snuggs and Auditor Shelley to this committee to start the negotiation process? Or just stating it in court is adequate? Need some guidance? Do we need a motion, Shelley? Okay. All right, just duly noted, if you would, Pam, that Shelley Atterbury and Jason Snuggs will be heading up the negotiation committee. Item 12, deliberate and consider possible approval to purchase EMC/FM vehicle and budget amendment for same. Ray?
Yes, sir. We had requested a new vehicle this last budget year, and apparently the money is in the budget, and I would request that we make that purchase.
And where will your vehicle go?
I
Pass me
talked
down?
to maintenance, and Mr. Kerr would be pretty happy to have that, and have that four-wheel drive capability at least around town where he could use it.
So move.
Second.
Have a motion to approve the purchase of a new emergency medical coordinator's vehicle and budget amendment for same by Commissioner Clement, and a second by Commissioner Hollowell.
Emergency management
Emergency
coordinator.
Oh, emergency management coordinator, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
He'd be driving an ambulance, Judge.
Did you get a new degree?
I did.
No, I'm
Not
talking
another
to
job
Ray.
added yet.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm talking to Ray. Okay.
yeah. It's called brain fog. I apologize. I'll restate that. I have a motion from Commissioner Clement to approve the EMC/FM vehicle and budget amendment for same. A second from Commissioner Hollowell. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
I got a question. Ray, has that bid got a radio in it?
We'll swap.
Oh, but it does not have one in it?
No, I did
Okay,
not
We're good.
approach
Okay,
that, no.
okay. We'll pull yours and,
Plan was to move everything.
yeah, okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 13, deliberate and consider possible approval of replacement of existing 5-ton condensing unit and evaporator coil for tax assessor collector's office.
Can I ask a question? I hate to back up. Now, I didn't make the motion specifically to give the car to Ricky. Is that, do I need to?
No, I mean, we can put another agenda item on to transfer it, or.
Okay. We couldn't roll that all into one, could we? Okay. Sorry.
No, no problem. Item 13 is to deliberate and consider possible approval of replacement of existing 5-ton condensing unit and evaporator coil for tax assessor collector's office.
I got to show my ignorance, but is that going to go on the roof?
Say again?
Is that going to go, some of that going to go on the roof?
I would imagine so,
You know, our new roof?
yes.
Removal of existing unit off of roof,
Yeah.
Yep.
It'll go back on top
Yeah.
where that one
roofing
was.
of any kind.
For a total cost of $8,650.
Yeah. Sure would have been nice to have had it on there 6 weeks ago. I guess, surprise.
That's all it is, I think,
I believe so.
8650.
Yep.
Do we have any choice?
We have a choice? No. I make a motion, we approve the 8650, the Culpeper for the new unit for the tax assessor collector's office.
I have a motion by Commissioner Clement to replace the existing 5-ton condenser and evaporator coil for the tax assessor collector's office for the
Second.
sum of $8,650.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hollowell. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 14, deliberate and consider possible approval of renting a reclaimer for R&B Everett and Company. I guess that should be from R&B Everett Company for $18,900. Commissioner Art?
Yeah, this is a reclaimer that, I was looking at buying one, but they're outrageous. And I don't think I'd use it as much as, I was just gonna lease one or rent one for a couple months.
How long do you get it for that?
That's per month.
Per month? Oh, that's per month?
Yes, sir.
It doesn't say that on there.
Yeah, right there, month.
Or where am I missing it at?
It's on the quotation.
Ah, there it is, per month.
Hopefully we can get everything done in a month. That's my plan. I've just got some roads that are in bad shape that we did a reclaim, company come out and did them for us, and we really like the way it's, and these couple roads that I need to do are really in bad shape. And I'd like to get it to where I can get it packed in really good. And these reclaimers are chop that pavement and stuff up a lot better than the scarf iron and that stuff, so. I make the motion that we do it.
Have a motion from Commissioners Arndt to approve the rental of a reclaimer from R&B Everett for $18,900 a month.
It's your budget. I'll second it.
Have a second from Commissioner Snuggs. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 15, deliberate and consider possible approval of purchase of bed cover and plug-in flasher switch module for new DA's investigator vehicle and a budget amendment for same. Looks like the bed cover is $1,200 and the plug-in flasher switch is $189.
My agenda item, instead of just in the bills paid.
I didn't put it on there.
I was told that he was denied.
What?
I was told by him that it was denied because it was that's why he put all that stuff in the packet.
What
He
else
said
in
he
the
wasn't
packet?
gonna armor the vehicle or whatever they call it, you know,
Outfit.
outfit it, yeah.
I mean, he was gonna spend an additional $9,100 on it. I think that took him over the 50 or something of that nature. And so now it's down to whatever it is, 1,800 or something,
1389.
13, whatever it is.
And I asked and was told it was okay, but he still needed a budget amendment, so I don't know why it became an agenda item.
Did we ever insure it?
Not yet, we will today.
You're gonna insure mine? Why couldn't you insure my truck?
I don't know.
Then we bought that single axle truck 2 weeks ago and paid for it, have it at the barn, and I asked in the office, can you get Shelley to put insurance on it? And they said, you gotta wait
We
until.
haven't registered it yet.
But-
When the state changed up, you know, you used to go get your vehicle inspected and you paid the full.
The two-step process.
Yes, and then they split it up to where you pay the inspection and then we have to go and pay.
I understand.
That has caused,
But TAC will tell you, I've been
A
through that
nightmare.
before, TAC will tell you, send us the VIN number and we'll put it on your insurance, because I've had that thing sitting there for 2 weeks with nothing on it, and if something happens to it,
What
well,
was the crisis? I mean, they had something to drive. I
the,
mean-
who, me?
No, on this DA's vehicle.
Well, if you've got it in possession and you don't have it insured and there's no insurance on it and something happens to it,
I don't, typically when,
and I've been told we have an ambulance sitting there too that doesn't have insurance on it. I don't know if that's true, is it?
I don't know about the ambulance, I'll have to find out about that. But, so we need to change up, like, when we pay for the vehicle, we also need to pay for the registration on the same port. So, we need to work it out.
I think there needs to be some SOPs on that, because we don't need to be picking the vehicles up and putting them in our possession until they're insured, if there's a delay in them getting insured.
Well, I tell you, when you go pay a gentleman for a truck and he doesn't have it insured,
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
yeah,
what-
there's
what
a
am I
transfer of
supposed to do?
liability right there.
yeah, but
But
this
if they're
one,
not paid for, they just need to sit at their lot, so it's on their insurance.
I mean,
but all you have to do is get a hold of the insurance company and they'll put it on there even if you don't.
Well, when I talked to TAC last week, they said, why don't you want to put it on here if you own it? And I said, we hadn't paid for it yet. And they said, oh, yeah, you don't own it yet.
see, the difference, I think, is individuals, when we go, we've got our financing fixed and we actually are indebted, and most of us are individuals, we'd be covered for 30 days through our insurance companies. But it sounds like government's a whole different bureaucratic process.
And we don't have a blanket policy.
Well, we need to figure something out. Like I said, I've had possession of a truck that's been, the county has had the title and everything there is to have on that thing, and it's sitting there with nothing on it.
Yeah,
I need to drive it and get a bed put on it, but,
Now, it's one
And
thing
it's-
if we get the vehicle, we get it insured, and there's no tags, it still can't be driven, but at least it's, because the tornadoes could have sucked away a couple vehicles a couple weeks ago, or last week, and we've been in full loss on those.
Do we have an ambulance sitting somewhere in a shed
That's not insured?
that's not insured?
I'll verify.
I'll have to find out.
Does it get paid for this court? You don't know, you gotta find out.
I didn't see
Was
it.
yours paid for, Leon, your big
Yeah.
truck? It was paid for last court?
Then then it's probably waiting on the check to take across the street. So I will find out, and if I have to take the credit card over there, we'll get it done.
Does tax say that they have to have tags on them before we insure them?
No,
No.
just we have to own them.
Okay.
It used to be like, if it got paid today, then I would go across the street.
Yeah.
But when the state changed up that split now,
Well,
you know,
we need to come up with a better way of doing this, because,
I don't disagree.
like I said,
I don't disagree.
your office said, you know you've got to wait 2 more weeks. I said, but I have the truck. Why do you have the truck? I said, we gave the man a check for it. I'm not going to let it sit on that lot.
No, I don't disagree.
And anyway,
Okay, back
But
to,
this has been a 3-week court, and so the time period is
yeah,
a little longer than normal.
okay, so we'll figure out a better procedure and process, put in writing somehow. Okay, deliberate and consider possible approval of purchase of bed cover and plug-in flashers.
I make the motion, we approve it.
Have a motion to approve by Commissioner Snuggs,
second.
second by Commissioner Clement. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by...
Hold on, what's this Defender deal down here for 9,000 in that deal? Is that part of that?
That was
No.
Okay.
what?
That's no more.
But
That was the
wasn't
original wish list, and they told us in court, hey, now we've decided we're not going to equip it, is what they told us in
even-
court.
But that wasn't even submitted during the budget process
Excuse me.
Okay.
with the
The total's $1,389.
budget for the truck.
For the truck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
nothing
didn't-
else.
That $9,000 wasn't submitted with
And we're
the
not
budget.
approving it today.
No.
Okay.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the purchase of the bed cover and the plug-in flasher at $1,389 from Commissioner Snuggs, a second by Commissioner Clement. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 16, deliberate and consider approval of TCDRS retirement contribution rate for 2023. I believe that rate would be 8.59% plus a $300,000
One-time payment.
one-time payment. Thank you.
Which we budgeted during
Yes.
budget hearings. Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion to approve the retirement contribution rate for 2023 and the one-time contribution from Commissioner Hollowell. Have a second from Commissioner Clement. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 17, deliberate and consider possible approval of memorandum of understanding with TCOG for FY22 Siri grant equipment.
I think we need Ray. Is this you, Ray?
Ray,
The
yeah,
sewer
it
grant?
is. Yeah, this is just basically, I believe, I'll let Ray tell us. Take care of the equipment, Ray.
So with the 2022 Siri grant, it's a state emergency response infrastructure grant. We applied for, I think, about $1.5 million, $2 million, and we got 34,000, I believe, something like that.
TCOG got less than a quarter of a million.
Right, and that's, yeah, all of the group applied, and we all ended up getting a very small amount for the COG as a whole. It was decided to split it evenly amongst the 7 folks to help with our communications infrastructure needs. And so anything we buy with that, or in this case, TCOG would make the purchase for us in our name and then give it to us. And so this is just the MOU to allow them to do that, and we get the equipment. It's just easier, a lot less paperwork on our end, letting them to deal with it as a whole for everybody.
I make a motion, we approve the memorandum of understanding with TCOG for the FY22 Siri grant equipment.
Second.
Have a motion from Commissioner Clement to approve the memorandum of understanding with TCOG for the FY22 Siri grants, a second by Commissioner Arndt. Any further discussion?
Yes. What do we earmark that for?
We haven't yet. One of the things we had considered was the generator, possibly for a site. If we don't already have one, it could be a portion of that if it was more than that, was probably the most likely. The other would be possibly a new shelter building at Rice Avenue. Those are the two things that come to mind off the top of my head.
If we have some monies, we probably need to order a couple of handhelds.
Can't do that.
They can't order
Not-
radios
not-
at all on
not-
that.
Not subscriber equipment. It would have to be infrastructure related.
Okay.
Be a great time to get a generator.
Well, we,
Food for thought, don't have to decide today.
okay.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Clement to approve the MOU with TCOG for FY '22 series, a second by Commissioner Arndt. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
And
Thank
just
you,
the
Ray.
money we got a couple of years ago, we used for the tower at Walmart.
Right, no, I'm good.
That time was-
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Item 18, deliberate and consider possible approval of cell phone allowance for John Anderly and Daniel New and budget amendment for same. Commissioner Arndt?
Yeah, these are the two, crew chief and assistant crew chief. Of course, I'm on the phone with them all the time.
It wasn't funded in the budget.
Oh, that's why it showed up on here. Okay. Make a motion, let's go.
I make the motion, we do it.
Have a
Second.
motion. Have a motion from Commissioner Arndt to approve the allowance for John Anderly and Daniel New, a second from Commissioner Clement.
Did that include the budget amendment? Is that what we
Yes,
said?
Yes.
with budget amendment.
Who is Daniel?
Danny New, he's a new guy I hired from the state, works for the state of Texas, he's taking care of all the maintenance and all the new forms and everything we do.
And why does he get a cell phone allowance?
He's my assistant crew chief.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Deliberate and consider possible approval of juvenile probation, placing a treadmill in a spare office. Is Tony here? No. I'll speak to this. I mean, they're thinking that it would be a health benefit for their employees to be able to, at lunch and breaks, to put in some exercise. That was what I was told.
Is this them just,
Them providing the.
they're providing it with their own personal funds, they just want
Yep.
permission to put it in the office?
Correct.
I'm okay with that, I'll make that motion.
Have a motion to approve placing a treadmill in the spare office of the juvenile probation office by Commissioner Snuggs,
Second.
second by Commissioner Arndt. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Deliberate and consider possible approval of FY '22 Equitable Sharing Annual Report for SO
Skip
Federal.
one. Sorry, you skipped.
EMS. Item
Skipped
20.
to
Oh, did I skip one? I am
yes.
so sorry. Item 20, deliberate and consider possible approval of implementing proposed new fee structure for EMS commencing November the 1st of 2022. Wes isn't here, but he brought that to me. They did some research, and they thought that that was the appropriate changes. It's in the packet. I think the majority of them stayed the same. Just a couple of adjustments for $50, I believe.
And I understood all that, but then when you got down there to the second table, that looks like money to be budgeted to be spent, right, for the modem? We're talking about annual fee and one-time fee? You see that, Shelley? Or it looks like at the top, that's where we're gonna increase our fees, right?
Yes.
Okay? And then it goes down here and it talks about these interfaces and CAD and maintenance and one-time fees.
That's a different, that's item 21.
That's like it shouldn't even be there.
Yeah.
But
Is it there just to confuse me?
Looks like just a scanning error.
it follows up on the next page.
Okay.
The only thing that should be covered here under item 20 is the EMS medical services proposed structure change.
And skip the second table, move to approve.
Okay,
Second.
have a motion to approve the proposed new fee structure for EMS commencing November the 1st of 2022 by Commissioner Hollowell, second by Commissioner Clement. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 21, deliberate and consider possible approval of FY '22 equitable sharing annual report for Sheriff's Office federal forfeiture money.
He has a balance of $11,008.76. He did not spend anything in FY '22. But this has to be approved by the county judge, and then I submit it online.
Is there a time constraint when he has to spend that money, or no?
No.
That doesn't matter, that carries over from year to year,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
and then they're up for two additional awards right now.
And that's where the SSI stuff comes in. He's gonna spend some of it on SSI, I'm guessing. That's the new net data stuff.
I don't know what the plans are with that.
Okay.
But that's that page
Okay.
that you saw, the SSI, that's what
Yeah.
this is.
Right, yeah, okay. Should be on this one. I'm good.
Oh, it was on the wrong page, I got it.
But that is an annual report that is on the federal forfeiture.
There's a box.
Motion?
Yes, sir.
I make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve the FY '22 equitable sharing annual report for the Sheriff's Office by Commissioner Arndt,
Second.
second by Commissioner Snuggs. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 22, deliberate and consider possible acceptance of the FY '21 State Criminal Alien Assistance Program Award in the amount of $29,233 and designating how the fund will be used per attached use.
Of funds.
Looks like that we can use it for salaries for correction officers, overtime, correction work and recruitment and retention, construction of correction facilities, training and education, training for correction officers, consultants, medical and mental health services, vehicle rentals and purchases, prison industries, pre-release, re-entry program, technological involved offender management, and disaster preparation. Do we have a recommendation on what to use it for?
The last 3 awards we've received designated it for mental health.
Okay. But we, the court, need to make this designation, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, mental health sounds good to me.
It's the highlight statewide.
I set that money aside so it cannot be used for anything else,
Okay.
and that's put the money in the jail budget to fund that year's mental health assessment.
Motion.
Have a motion from Commissioner Hollowell to use the SCAP fund for mental health for a total of $29,233.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Clement. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. 23, deliberate and consider possible actions regarding Main Street parking lot. Commissioner Clement and I spoke with TNP and went over the proposal and made the determination that it probably is very biddable in its current condition, that there was a number of local contractors that just was not aware of the fact that it was out for bid.
They weren't. I talked to a couple of them,
Yeah.
and they said they'd love to bid on it. They didn't know it was there. And as far as the landscaping, it's just sod. You can sub that out.
Did I read it wrong where it said that it has a sprinkler system though?
They might need a sprinkler system, but you just sub that out to.
Right.
That's no big deal. The couple of guys that I talked to, they said, boy, you know, we get a sub to do that. That's part of the bid. And they don't have the lighting is not on there yet. They left that off. That'll be something to do in the future. So that's not part of it either. It's just, basically what I was told is they didn't know it was available. They didn't know it was there.
I got the same thing as well.
So
I
we just
don't
need to
know.
put it back out.
Yeah, we just need to go back out for it.
It's, running in the paper this Friday and next Friday and open on December 2nd. And it's already on the website.
That's when the first day they can start submitting them is on December 2nd.
No, that's when they're due.
Okay, they're due.
December the 2nd already?
Yes.
See, I don't know if you give them enough time, because all these guys are busy doing other things. I don't know, you know, the ones I talked to, I don't know. I don't know, should we give them an extra week, or is that a law that we have to do it in that many days?
Well, you have to run the ad.
I understand.
Yeah, and then we open them, usually most of the time we open them on Thursdays and then get them on the next court.
So if you run it, you're gonna open the bids what date?
December 2nd. So that is, 3 full weeks
3 weeks.
from today.
I was asked where they could get a copy of the plans. I said, Judge's office.
They're on the website,
Are they on the website?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
or they can call my office.
Okay, sounds good. I'll get the word out to the two I talked to that it's available for review on our website.
And
And hopefully the newspapers will also carry that we have a parking lot open for bid that's on our website.
And if we get a question from one of the vendors that says, or a statement saying, I can't meet this, we can issue an addendum.
You can extend it for an extra, okay.
Perfect. Okay, anything else on the parking lot?
No.
Thank you for your help, Commissioner Clement.
Oh, you're
We'll take
welcome.
no action on item 23. Item 24, deliberate and consider possible actions regarding the Crest Building. I got an update from the realtor this morning. She had a new person involved last week that is trying to get investors, and she has not heard back from them yet. So we are continuing to get people to look at the building. Anything else on Crest? We'll take no action on 24. Item 25, deliberate and consider possible actions regarding radio communication system.
We're getting close to going operational with it. We were standing at the jail Friday on handhelds and communicating, hitting the Walnut Bend tire on handheld. And we were talking from Sybil's Bend to Oak Ridge on the commissioner's frequency, which is a VHF, on handheld. And 700, we're talking from 6975 in the Sherman-Denison area back to Sybil's Bend on a handheld. So it's looking good. all the tires are in place. What they're doing is syncing everything now, and we are going to go out and do some testing. We haven't issued the handhelds to employees yet because we're waiting to get all our final code plugs for programming. Thursday is probably, our goal is to Thursday have all of the radios in the vehicles. Shipment will be at the Sally Port on Thursday, and Leon, Jason, and myself need to, if possible, have our vehicles out there Thursday.
What time? Just
They've
sometime.
been in there about 8 o'clock, Leon. I
Okay.
don't know how long it's taken them, but,
All right.
but they've got your antenna and radio and multiplexer and all that stuff that goes in them. It's out there. So, and that's, I think that's pretty much it on vehicles. We lack installing radios there's 2 radios that go into the EMS station, one in the residential area, one in Ray's mobile EOC. We still lack the EOC in your office, right, Ray? We had a couple, 3 extras. Right now, we had an issue with something called consolettes, which are mini radio communication bases. Somehow we got single bands ordered, so we've taken these 2 extra radios and using those to temporarily cover where the consolettes would have been. I gave up the judges and the precinct 4 guys or something, till after the first, not really. Anyway, it's,
Were you talking?
yeah, we think we'll go live mid-December. In a training, the formal training where they're going to come out with the PowerPoint presentations to train the trainer, that's now been postponed till after the first of the year because couldn't get it all worked in over the holidays. When they issue the handhelds, they will do an overview and then be formal training later. But the radios, the guys have them in the cars. They're using the radios, so.
And so from what I gathered from your first analysis, the range is as good as we expected or better?
Maybe better. We don't have them all. We haven't tested everything, but we will go off and test Fire's VHF and our 700, EMS is 700. It looks like it's going to be good. And
Good.
Fire will go VHF, analog, simulcast. So when they key up on a volunteer fire radio, if they hit any one of the 4 towers, they'll communicate back to the base station. So
Good news.
they should have enhanced coverage.
All right, nothing else on communications?
Something we might consider, but I think it's after we wrap up the Motorola thing. Valley View maybe has a water tower or something down their way. We pulled 2 or 3 VHF antennas off of Rice Avenue. Should we consider and look at maybe seeing if Valley View would let us put a VHF antenna there? And that would help our VHF volunteer fire department coverage in the south part of the county.
As well.
I think that's a good
Hopefully
idea.
worth exploring.
Yeah, Ray, you think that's worth kicking around?
I think the issue would be tying it into the simulcast system.
I don't know on VHF, but I think it's worth asking the question. You think there's an issue?
I think it would improve it definitely. I'm just saying that the infrastructure required is a lot more than just the antennas on the tower.
Right.
So they have all-
Yeah, but $29,000 might go a long ways.
Oh, yeah.
That would be infrastructure.
A site down there would, I think, be a
And Valley View probably work with us. If you wanted to drop in on somebody down there, just, see if anybody has any thoughts or ideas. If the court doesn't object, the city might, if we could just get one up on a water tower somewhere.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, thank you.
Can we take a 5-minute break?
We sure can. We'll take it's 11:18, we'll take a 5-minute break.
Kathy, you need any signatures?
I'm sorry?
Do you need any signatures while we're breaking?
Sure.
Resume normal session.
That's crazy.
Item 26, deliberate and consider possible actions regarding annex. Approval of interior signs and room numbers. We're not ready for that, are we? So
No,
we'll
they
strike
didn't give
that.
it to us.
What that consists of is where we're gonna locate the braille signs and what's, like the one on the other side of this door, you know, each suite in the courthouse has one. I don't know if we even need to bring it to court, but that's what that is about. I don't know if the court wants to see where the signs are located and what they say or not.
They're cautiously optimistic that less the signs, they'll have to order those, I think, that they could be complete before Thanksgiving.
Maybe getting carpet, Thursday?
Yeah.
They may be in here to at least look at it, may not get started.
Now, of course, there'll be a punch list that I'm sure will take several weeks to complete as well. Anything else on the annex, Gary? I don't have anything.
They're staining the cabinets today. They're over there right now staining the bench and everything in the courtroom.
Good.
Judge's bench and all the woodwork in there sure look nice.
That's all custom cabinetry. He's building that from the ground up with drawers and everything. They're doing a good job.
Yep.
Seems like whenever we've talked about the annex, everybody thinks it's just commissioner offices, but it's a full brand-new courtroom for the Justice of the Peace #2. We have a fully break room, IT offices up there in storage. We have some room with some tables for employees to sit up there and eat lunch, looking out the window. It's going to be
Have subdivisions
nice.
over there.
Yeah, subdivision office will be over there. It's going to be a nice multi-purpose deal over there. Do what?
Yeah,
They're gonna have good acoustics so you can hear in it.
I don't know.
yeah, and lights so you can see and everything. Actually be a conference room with the television, so when we're talking about subdivisions, they can go up and call up Google Maps or Google Earth and talk to a location and, you know, so that'll be nice, especially for Kathy and those folks working subdivisions.
Okay, thank you. We'll take no action on 26. Item 27, deliberate and consider possible actions regarding proposed weight station. We're waiting on the state to ask for next steps from us. We do have an outline and a rough estimate from Bastrop of what the cost would be to the county. Of course, that cost could change as time continues. But I have no update at this point. Adam, do you have anything?
I don't.
I'll give you the packet and you can look it over since you'll be taking that over. So we'll take no action on 27.
What did Bastrop say it was gonna cost?
I think it's right at $500,000. And that's, here, let me, I know where everything's at there. A cover for the trucks to pull under 150 by 200 would be approximately $250,000. The pit, 30,000. Scales, 35,000. Office, 150,000, and then 30,000 square foot of cement would run between 200 and 250. So it's a little above 500. And these are guesstimations. We don't actually have a bid on anything other than the scales. They did give us a bid on the scales, and that bid was $30,000, total installation of $34,850. And see the date on this. My concern is all of these may go up. Yeah, this was actually a July bid.
All
So-
that'll surely be inflated, but what was
Yeah.
the revenues? I'm assuming if we're gonna talk expenses, we already talked potential revenues. They gave you some number for that, didn't they?
They did. The other three counties that had recently implemented a weight station, the revenue was running about $1 million a year. But once again, all of this is subject to negotiations and inflation. And we're at least a year down the road before, I think, firm action will need to be taken. We just need to continue to monitor it and coordinate it with TxDOT.
But if you spend $1 million in a year, you got a 1-year payback.
Yes, sir.
And then after that, it's offsets county cost.
Anything else on Wake Station? Okay. Item 28, deliberate and consider possible actions regarding various grant funds.
I received an email last week that they wanted to come and drive the roads in PW 800. Did, that happen?
Yes.
Okay.
They've been there, they've done that. They didn't want to look at roads, they want to look at tin horns and ditches.
Oh, okay. I haven't received any additional money, so we're waiting. And on the FEMA 20 COVID, I'm still gathering invoices. That's due at the end of the year. CTIF, still a work in progress. American Rescue, still a work in progress.
Okay. Item 29, deliberate and consider possible actions regarding approval of revised Cooke County Employee Handbook.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm not sure the best way to go through this with you all, but I did, it should have been in your packet with the changes in red. So what I kind of plan to do is go through the major changes. Some of them are just legal kind of updates that we've had to change a few of the policies, make some minimal changes. But some of the bigger things that we have added. Sorry, there's a lot of papers. So page 18, we did not have a whistleblower policy in there before, so that's been added. On page 20, under discipline, I have removed examples of discipline just because it doesn't limit it to those, so it kind of leaves it open for any event that may occur. Page 35, I've updated the social media policy onto page 36 and added kind of some rules on posting on social media as a Cooke County employee, and what's expected of that employee when posting on social media. Also on page 36, we have added an accident prevention plan. That's something we haven't had before. That does put some responsibility on the department heads, elected officials, and the emergency management coordinator who handles our safety, and is also our safety representative. So that's an important section to kind of go through and read. Also talks about equipment inspections and maintenance, which would be the department head and elected officials' responsibility, or whoever they assign to that. Includes some orientation for new hires on safety hazards of the job and documentation of that training. And then accident reporting investigation, which we have a policy on, but just kind of reiterates that the safety representative would investigate the accidents that occur and try and work to maybe come up with some solutions along with the department heads, elected officials to keep those from occurring again. Any questions or comments so far?
No.
We keep on going.
Well, you have the accident investigation in twice.
So one, this is just kind of a statement on it on page 40,
Yeah.
and then there's a policy that says
On page
how to
38.
report the accident.
There's one on page 38, one on page 40. And one on page 41.
is in there several times, but it's talking about, I think, just the different areas, the hazard, the equipment. I think it's just reiterating. On page 42, the only thing I've added on the workers' compensation policy is that there is an accident or incident, it should be reported no later than by the end of the work shift, but it should be reported as soon as possible. And then on page 44, we have not had a hazard communication program policy. So that's been included in here. Just talks about the safety data sheets. It says the originals will be kept on file in the Emergency Management Coordinator Safety Representative's office, and each commissioner precinct and each county office will have a copy pertaining to the appropriate location of those chemicals. And throughout here, makes the elected official, department head, responsible for notifying employees of the hazards and chemicals and keeping those safety data sheets, as well as the safety representative would be responsible for keeping those. Now,
Is that anything in addition to the MSDS labeling? And if so, who's going to create that?
I'm sorry, say that again.
And if it's anything other than the MSDS labels, who's going to create this book?
So it's just as far as I remember here, the MSDS and SDS sheets. And then the only other labeling would have to be done is if that chemical was placed in a bottle that didn't have the ingredients on it, then that would have to be labeled.
Windex.
Yeah, I mean,
Backbone,
and everyday
yeah.
chemicals, I don't believe have to be labeled, it's just those that aren't. It's kind of the ones that you wouldn't use every day in your household. Also includes a training kind of session to train your employees on those chemicals. Page 48, it says that we would post and maintain a notice, and that would be my responsibility to make sure that notice is posted. So that's the hazardous chemical policy. Post-accident testing, I've updated this. It previously said that whenever there was an accident that was the employee's fault with a minimum of $1,000 in property damage, that we would do a post-accident test on that employee. So $1,000 doesn't take much damage anymore. So I have updated that to define substantial damage as damage which would prevent the county-owned or third-party owned vehicle or equipment from being operated or driven from the scene in a normal or safe manner. Substantial damage to property other than vehicles or equipment shall be defined as damage requiring repairs at 50% or more of the original cost. And then also, if reasonable suspicion exists at the time of the accident or incident, we would be responsible for making sure that employee made it home safely. On page 58, I've added if an employee is overpaid, the county would make the necessary corrections on the next payroll. Page 59, we already do this as a practice, but it says exempt employees will be required to use accrued vacation, personal sick, comp, or other form of accrued leave for full or partial day absences. Page 60, I've added a clause under law enforcement pay for if there is a disaster where we could pay law enforcement that are required to be on duty for that disaster 1.5 regular pay, anything work beyond 40 for that disaster. Page 61, I've added the same kind of clause, it just relates to regular employees for disaster pay.
Does that somehow offset that 177 hours they have to put in before they can draw overtime?
It does, yes.
Okay, that's good.
And then the same kind of clause is under compensation on page 62. So, page page 62 also, I've added the certification and specialty pay that we pay our law enforcement and EMS.
And that's just to reflect the budget changes this year, I guess.
It's what the court has set, and it does say in there,
But we have to change that every year, if we change it?
If it changes, it would have to be updated, yes, and it does say it's subject to budget approval. On page 72, under holiday, I've just added special consideration shall be given to employees requesting time off for religious or other special observances, which are not designated as paid holidays for Cooke County. Each supervisor is responsible for granting this leave based on the needs of their individual departments. Vacation, compensatory time, or leave without pay may be used for special leave granted. And on page 73, under funeral leave, I've added employees may be allowed time off with pay up to a maximum of 4 hours to attend the funeral of a relative who is not a member of the immediate family. If leave is needed beyond these limits set in the policy, it may be charged to available vacation or compensatory time or leave without pay. I'm getting close to the end.
Wait, so an employee now, if it doesn't meet the family criteria, we're gonna give them 4 hours off?
Right, so if we're an
Paid.
aunt or an uncle, someone who wasn't immediate family but is a family member, then they can have 4 hours off paid to go to that funeral.
That's pretty standard.
Really?
Most of this is.
I mean, we've paid death in the family for years and years and years. If it's immediate family, it's 3
But it-
days. This is what?
It's based on the I can't say the word.
Consanguinity.
Consanguinity.
Yeah.
Right,
but-
and so we still allow the bereavement of 3 days for immediate family member. This would just be,
But
Kind of an
aunts and
additional-
uncles don't fall in the
right, or
Yeah.
circle of consanguinity or however.
Right, so I'm gonna end up with 15 or 20 additional uncles and aunts before the year's over, if I'm gonna give 4 hours off. And
well, you could, but we can also request documentation of an obituary that,
that's new to us, I mean.
Yeah.
And I get the 3 days. But,
Well, where I come from, nearly everybody goes to their aunt or uncle's funeral. Maybe they don't in other places, but they do where I come from. That's considered family. Now, I understand not immediate family, but
and I get it, and people do it, but they're not always compensated by the employer to do it.
I don't have a problem with it.
I don't, as long as we pay some attention to it.
I doubt if any of the folks I know are gonna have an extra 5 or 6 aunts or uncles. I don't think the family will grow
I
that.
know people that wouldn't
Oh,
even
my
go to the
God.
funeral of an aunt and uncle until they found out they could get 4 hours pay. But I
Well.
probably live in a strange world.
I think they call that compassion.
I don't have any apparently, I guess is the implication, but,
I never said that. You're looking for a reason, I'm giving you one.
No, there was some significant update here, but I think they're all appropriate. She sent this out a couple of months ago, and I spent quite a bit of time with it too. And I want to applaud you for the update. I think it's very,
thank you.
I didn't get mine in.
very appropriate.
I
The one,
waited.
I know.
the couple of things I would like to see us do, and of course I'll be gone by then, I guess, but can we set up training for department heads to go over the significances, and not just the changes, but the other applicable items in the handbook that they need to be aware of that I sometimes don't think everybody reads the handbook. And number 2, just for my clarification, do we have on-site checks for hazardous material handling? I like the update on the MSDS. I think that's good, but I think that we probably need to had some oversight and training there as well, just food for thought on that.
Yeah, and I don't have the answer to that if we do
Okay.
that.
I like it. You did a great job. It was a lot of work.
I do have one more policy I'd like to go over, and that's on page 86, and it's new. It says leave of absence other. And one of the reasons I included this is we do have a lot of first-year employees that don't qualify for FMLA, and maybe they're hired on, they're having a baby, they need time off. So I've added this, and it allows an employee to have a personal leave of absence of up to 45 days at the discretion of the department head or elected official. Doesn't guarantee them a job back if there's not a job opening for them whenever they come back from that, or they're done with their leave. It also requires them to pay for their insurance while they're out on leave. But it just kind of covers those first-year employees and lets them have a place to go for a leave where FMLA doesn't cover them.
Should this say leave without pay?
Let's see what it says.
Should be.
It should be, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
It doesn't say that.
And that's fine unless, they have sick time, they could use their sick time, if it were something that qualified for sick time. But I can put something in there,
Would you please?
yes.
Because when you say they have to pay for their insurance, but then they're gonna say, well, I have sick time to take, or,
Right.
it's something of the nature of, if you have benefits to take, or it will be without leave, and then you will be required to pay for your insurance.
If you go back to the sick leave portion, she's added in here, sick leave shall not be accrued while employees on leave without pay, but,
It
yeah. I
still
think we-
probably should,
Yeah.
it
But this
speaks to the
doesn't say
fact that it's not a
without leave.
paid leave,
Without
that it is
I
unpaid.
agree.
So,
Good catch, Shelley.
other than that, it's just, I've updated the CDL drug and alcohol testing policy just to kind of match what TAC what the updates they had. And everything else in there is pretty much TAC recommended updates with FMLA. And that's it.
I wanted to make a few changes to the travel policy, but if you guys approve it today, then approve this policy today, then I can stick them in later.
So if you want to approve it today, or I can bring it back with the change to that final policy next time, for travel policy changes.
I'm okay with approving it and letting her make the amendments.
I'll make a motion, we approve it.
Have a
Today.
motion to approve the updated employee handbook by Commissioner Clement,
Second?
second by Commissioner Snuggs. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good work. Item 30, executive session in compliance with Texas Open Meeting Act, Chapter 551, Government Code Vernon's Texas Code annotated. Deliberation regarding real property. It is 12:07. We'll resume normal session. Item 30, deliberate regarding real property.
I'd make the motion, we put property in the 1600 block of East Highway 82 up for sealed bids.
Have a motion from Commissioner Hollowell to put the property that the county owns at the 1600 block of Highway 82 up for sealed bids. Second from Commissioner Snuggs. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 32, adjourn.
Motion.
Have a motion to adjourn by Commissioner Hollowell, a second by Commissioner Snuggs. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.